HarperAudio present A Lady's Guide to Selling Out, a novel by Sally Franson, performed by Barron. To my Nancys, for believing in me. 1. Brands, brands, brands. I guess you could say this whole thing started the day we tacked Ellen Hanks's face to our vision board and began thinking seriously about how we could best take this incredible human being and turn her into a brand. Ellen Hanks was the face of Minneapolis's Real Housewives franchise, and she had, just a few days before, approached People's Republic Advertising about integrating her brand identities. PR was the best boutique agency in town, and Ellen needed our help. She'd launched a number of her own personally branded products, low-cal vodka, protein bites, and shapewear called Shape Up. But she felt these brands lacked intra, and meta coherence. They didn't reflect, she said, her core values. She'd put us on retainer for what we were calling cohesive brand management, to not only support the growth of her consumer base, but to add value to the life of each and every Ellen Hanks girl, which is why we, Annie, Jack, Lindsay, and I, the crackerest Jack team PR had ever put together, found ourselves on that dreary March day, puzzling over Ellen's giant face and its implications. In fact, it was the Ides of March. I've always had a soft spot for days when famous guys got murdered. And I was wearing palazzo pants in the hopes of appearing more European. Despite the freezing temperatures, I was also wearing open-toed shoes in the hopes of dressing for the weather you wanted, not the weather in Minnesota you'd ever get. My best friend Susan once said my optimism bordered on derangement, and I told her they'd probably said the same thing about Gandhi. She'd said she doubted it. And I'd said greatness always seems deranged at first, which was something I thought about while writing in my diary sometimes, and a paraphrase of a quote I'd read on Pinterest. Together, the four of us looked like an advertisement for the kind of glamorous urban life you could have if you went into advertising. 3 stylish and beautiful women and a fetching gay. Well, it pains me to say that Annie wasn't empirically beautiful, but when you put her with Lindsay and me, you tended to, in your mind's eye, gently round her up. I am loving, Jack said. He paused, placing one putting the man in manicured hand atop his checkered shirt, beneath his bow tie. Loving what I'm seeing here. He was our team's senior art director. It was his job, in other words, to create the visual ethos for each branch, print, digital, film, of a brand's campaign. Uh-huh, Annie said, nodding. Absolutely, uh-huh. Annie was a copywriter, a fresh-faced 23. Annie wore a lot of cardigans and was very diligent. She worked hard, much harder than the rest of us. She was talented enough to know she did not have a ton of talent. Fear of unworthiness gave her a near alarming level of commitment. But by then I'd read enough books about female leadership to know that true torchbearers ruled not by fear, but inspiration. So I took Annie under my wing, complimenting her cardigans and praising her work and giving advice I don't think she asked for, but I believed might need someday. Annie returned this kindness with devotion, which only compounded my natural beneficence. She also didn't mind, during long meetings, serving as an appreciative audience member for the rest of us as we waged our usual campaigns. Here's what we do, Jack said. Full-page glossy, put it in O in Us Weekly, we airbrush the face, add a fan to the hair, then her name at the bottom with the logo. He blocked out the words in the air with his thumbs and index fingers. Ellen Hanks. Ellen Hanks, I said, and then the tag. Housewives take no prisoners or something. Casey, enough with the tags. We don't need a tag, Jack said. He was irritable that morning. His Shih Tzu, Johnny, needed eye surgery.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?